Hey everyone, Derek here from WayScript. In this one, let's see how we can create our own API using WayScript. What we'll do is create a URL that we can visit or send a GET request to return a random number in JSON format. Let's get started. Starting off, we'll create a new script. Mine is called Create an API Template, so if you just want to clone this to your own WayScript account, you can find it in the marketplace under this name. Now, to get started, the first thing we need is an HTTP trigger. We'll select this from the Add Trigger button, and we can turn this on. What this does is give us a URL that we can go to get the response information that we want. We're able to customize our endpoint, so we can put something like GET onto the end of our URL. Once we click off, we see that we can now execute our script using this HTTP trigger whenever a user visits this URL. When they visit this URL, if we're using this as an API, we need to be able to take a value from the user. This value is a query parameter, and we can add it here. Let's just say, in this case, we'll just use value. By creating this query parameter, the user is able to pass information to our script. We'll use this information to create a random number in this one, but you can use this for much more. Let's create this random number using Python and return it as a JSON format back to the user. To do this, we'll click off of our HTTP trigger, go to Packages, and we'll type in Python. By default, this one is imported, so we can just drag it into our workflow. At this point, we're given access to a full Python editor that we can put our custom Python code directly into. We can click Edit Code, and we can put Python directly into this editor. For this example, I've already typed up some Python code that can be found on our GitHub repository. Talking through it very briefly, we're reading in the value from our variable of value that we take in as that query parameter, and we create it as this value from URL in Python. We then use that value to randomly seed the random library and then generate a random number. Once we have this random number, we create a dictionary, return it as JSON, and then output it back to WayScript as a return JSON variable. Once we click on Run Code, this return JSON should be generated down here in the Variables panel. Finally, since we're creating an API, we need to return a JSON response to this HTTP trigger. We can do this using an HTTP response. We'll click on it and drag it below our Python step. Here, we just want to return that JSON, so we can drag this return JSON from the Variables panel directly into our response content. So now let's go test out our brand new API. We can go back up. If we don't remember the URL, we'll paste it in. And then let's add our query parameter of value, and then we can put any value that we want here. So I'll just type in some random numbers, and we'll get a random number back as an API response. Once we change this number, so we'll just add 2 numbers to the end, we get back a different number as a response in JSON format. And that's it for this one. I hope it shows you how quickly we can create these APIs. In the coming videos, we'll talk about more use cases that we can use this for. If you have any questions or comments, as always, please let us know. Until next time.